During the reign of Emperor Vladan, 568 to 590, the Bulgarians asked Vladan to receive them under his authority and protection. The Bulgarians are like people Hunogundi, whom the Constantinople writers called the Volgars, along the Volga River on whose bank they first met them. Emperor Vladan received the Bulgarians and allowed them to settle in the lower Danube. Orbini says that that time that they were all pagans, Goths, Slavs and Bulgarians, and that they all spoke the same language. A large number of people who spoke the same language as Emperor Vladan asked him to take them under his authority and protection. After they were admitted to Serbia, the Bulgarians began to build houses and to stay permanently on a given land, living the nomadic way of life. Emperor Vladan regained 4 coastal cities, Dubrovnik, Solin, Trogir and Zadar. He moved his capital from Shkodra to Solin around 575, which remained the capital of Serbia around 640 when it was destroyed by Avars. The rulers of the Svevladović dynasty were not Christians, although at least 2/3 of them were. Then the population of Serbia was made up of Christians. The Svevladovići considered Christianity as one of many beliefs in the ancient sense, and they even protected the Christian church in Serbia. Since the Serbian Sirmium archbishopric, due to consistent attacks by various tribes, was moved to Thessalonica, a city that was under the Roman Empire, Serbia was left with only the metropolitan based in Solin. This metropolity under Svevladovići became the archbishopric and a Serbian autocephalous church. Metropolitan Honorius III, from 528 to 544, convened the provincial church council in Solin in 530. At that council, Honorius was appointed archbishop, so he became equal in ecclesiastical dignity with the Roman archbishop, the Archbishop of Constantinople, and the Patriarch. The Serbian archdiocese of Solin had a following dioceses under his administration: Solin, Zadar, which covered Liburnia and Japodia, Rab, Skradin, which covered some areas in Bosnia, Epidaurus, Dubrovnik, which covered some part of southern Herzegovina, Neretva, Dalmatia, Maharska, and Brač and Lesha, Imotski with its headquarters in Lovrach Fortress in Gradina Hill, Sasinska with its headquarters in Sasin Fortress in Bosnia, Sarnitska and or Saritska, Sarajevo, Sarsantarska in Bosnia, Sisak and Brod. Rome and Constantinople were equally opposed to the independence of Serbian Church. In their endeavor to restore the Roman Empire to its widest scope, Emperor Justinian tried to conquer Serbia. After a failed war that lasted 13 years, Justinian decided to at least subjugate the Serbian Church with the help of the Roman Archbishop Vigilius. Justinian founded the Archbishopric of Peja in 548. This new archbishopric was officially the Archbishopric of Illyria, under whose jurisdiction all the territory of that former Roman province was placed. The Archbishopric of Solin was supposed to be subordinated to the Archbishopric of Peja, and this was one of the subordinated to the Church of Constantinople. Like the city of Solin, the Solin archbishopric was completely destroyed by the Avars in 640. The new city of Split, the successor of the old city of Solin, became the seat and the renewed archbishopric. But this one no longer had the power of Strange and the old archbishopric of Solin. The Archbishopric of Peja later became the Serbian Patriarchate. As early as 18th century, the Patriarchs of Peja were called in official documents Patriarch Raška, Bulgaria, Serbia, Sirmium, Slavonia, Japodia, Istria, Croatia, Dalmatia and Bosnia. Here, as in all documents of the early Middle Ages, Serbia means the area from Neretva River to Vojša River. That territory was the mother territory of Serbia before the Roman conquests and after the restoration of the state of Serbia. Today's Republic of Serbia is included under Raška and partly under Sirmium. Istria became the integral part of Serbia 600 years. Illyrian Serbia merged territorially with Dacian Serbia of King Vsevolod. He was soon succeeded after 490 by his eldest son Brusilo. It so happened that three brothers were three kings at the same time. Brusilo in Dacian Serbia, Ostroilo in Illyrian Serbia, and Totila in southern Italy. The coat of arms of Svevladović dynasty originates from that time, a blue shield with a three-crowned golden lion heads. The coat of arms has survived to this day as the coat of arms of Dalmatia. At the time of Avar looting of Serbia, after Radimir II from 639 to 641 on the throne of Serbia, two rulers changed whose names remained unknown. The last of them was executed by Duke Svetimir in 641. Svetimirović dynasty. The Avars violently attacked Serbia during the reign of King Radimir II in 639. A very large Avar army invaded Serbia and looted its provinces Dalmatia, Istria, Mezia, Dardania, Raška and Preval. The Avars conquered the fortress of Klis in Dalmatia and then completely destroyed the towns of Solin and Epidaurus in 640. On the eve of the Avar attack, Serbia was in big mess. Conflicts between Christians and pagans broke out. Emperor Radimir, who was a pagan, persecuted Christians in those conflicts. The bad situation in Serbia facilitated the penetration of the Avars, and perhaps that is what attracted them. In any case, Emperor Radimir disappeared in 639, and his successor, whose name is not known to us, died during the Avar conquest of Solin in 640. The last nobleman from the Svevladović dynasty tried to establish the imperial rule in Shkodra, but he did not have much success. The Avars were a Hun nomadic people from Central Asia. The Serbs met them for the first time while they were still on the river Obri in Siberia, so they named them after that river Obri. Emperor Justinian was the first to establish ties with the Avars in 558, looking for allies everywhere for war against Serbia. That year, an alliance was made between the Roman Empire and the Avars were still in Central Asia. An Avar envoy named Hondich visited Constantinople, and then Spatar Valentin visited the Avar Hagan. 10 years later, the Avars were in Bessarabia and began as allies of the Roman Empire attacks on Serbs and Serb allies in the Danube region, in a war between Romans and Serbs from Dacia, Serbia, 568 to 578 to 579, the Avars took part in fighting on the side of the Romans. When the war ended with Serbian victory, the Serbs crossed the Danube and ravaged all of Thrace and Greece. Then in 592, the Avars attacked Adriatic Serbia, and there is no doubt that they did so at the invitation of Constantinople. In that attack, they were beaten so badly that their Khan had to escape by fleeing across the Danube. The policy of the Byzantium was to direct all savages of the nomadic hordes in attacks on Serbs and plunder of Serbian lands, which was especially evident in the case of Avars. The Byzantines did not pay the regularly agreed salary to Avar warriors, so they protested and plundered Byzantine territory as well. Despite the damage from the Avar plunder, the Byzantines thought that it was much more useful for them to keep Avars constantly ready for military campaigns for the sake of plunder. This proved purposeful when Byzantium invaded Dacian Serbia in 594. As soon as the Byzantine army crossed the Danube, a huge Avar horde immediately joined in, so they defeated the Serbian Duke Adragast and united forces and captured Prince Muzhok on river Yalomica. The following year, the attackers were defeated and expelled from Dacian Serbia. The Avars then invaded Illyrian Serbia and destroyed city of Velika, which was located near the Sava River, northwest of Banja Luka. The Serbian army reached Avars near the mentioned cities, beaten them, stole all their booty, and expelled them from Serbia. In a new war between Byzantium and Dacian Serbia in 602, the Avars did not participate, so the Byzantines were severely defeated. A dissatisfied Byzantine army rebelled and killed Emperor of Mauritius. The Avars rebelled against their employer, Byzantium, in 690, so they gave them a salary again and promised to recognize the whole of Pannonia as their possession if they conquer it. It was an open call to Avars to attack the Pannonian Serbs, who at that time did not have significant military force. The Avars carried out that order as well, so the whole Avar horde fell into the Pannonian plain. The Avar Asian cavalry rode through Pannonia like a storm and occupied almost the whole.